Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for Monday, June 11th, 2022 for the city of Dauphin. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples and homeland of the Métis Nation. And we affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular council meeting agenda as presented. Any questions or comments there before we move on? Seeing none, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting. That's the regular Council meeting of June 27th. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Eilers.
There's just a few spelling errors. I'll deal with it. Nothing major. Nothing that would change the meaning of anything.
Okay. Anything else? No. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the delegation from the RCMP. Staff Sergeant Ray Campbell is here today. Fresh off holidays, I hear. I saw you at the parade in Dauphin a couple weeks ago. I said to you before the meeting, it was tough to recognize you. My brain had to click in because you weren't in uniform. But nonetheless, how was holidays? And you can take it from there.
It was good. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. And yes, I went to sunny Alberta and got snow in Kananaskis. So camping at -3 is a little bit of a challenge. But anyway, yes, I'm pleasure to be here. I brought my police reports for the last quarter. Unfortunately, I only brought one copy because I just did it today. So the rest of you won't have privy to that information. The city manager has it all in front of her. I am here on your behalf to answer any questions I can. I guess the big topic was we just come off of Country Fest, which was predominantly, if anybody went to their first Country Fest compared to years ago, they would have thought that, boy, this is pretty easy. But it, on our standpoint, the grounds itself, we only had, I think, 8 files that we got called to within the confines there. Our biggest night was, I believe, Friday night at the fairgrounds was where we were the busiest. We had traffic control brought in from outside the area that assisted with road checks and traffic enforcement and community safety. But all in all, it was, from a police standpoint, it was relatively, well, it was controllable, that's for sure. Statistically wise, for this quarter, for the first April 1st to June 30th, compared to the same time frame of last year, our statistics have really increased. I presume that's prominent because COVID restrictions have rescinded, so people are out and about now compared to this time of last year. One note that I'm happy to say is our Mental Health Act has dropped significantly compared to last year, so I presume that is attributed to that as well. That still causes us some grief with the hospital and our agency, because under the Mental Health Act, we are to transport mental health prisoners, which causes us some problems within our organizational structure for scheduling, because that comes at any time that they have somebody that has to be transported, and it's up to us to do that for them. So it causes us some problems in our daily routine with our schedule. As far as scheduling wise, I will report I have one, I combine our members, they're rural members compared to city members, but we work a combined schedule. So when I speak in totality of our membership. I have one member right now that's on maternity leave, and then we'll be on paternity leave. And I have 4 members that have paperwork to uproot and move out of the community. So I have one that will be going upstairs in our building as under the forensic identification section, one that is going to Charlottetown on the other side of the country, one is going to Verdun, the other one is going to Melita Reston. And like any other organization, we're in restraints right now, but I'm happy to say that I have a gentleman coming from Moose Lake in the end of this month that will be coming in. I have a new cadet recruit coming out of Regina, and she will be attending our detachment the middle of August. And I have another one that is slated to come here from St. Rose. So losing 4 and gaining 3 for now. So that's not too bad considering the North is really hurting right now for members. Anything else I can contribute to this conversation is property crime and person crimes have gone up, but and I don't know how to contribute to that, to the fact, you know, we can certainly blame everything on COVID, but we know that people are more out and about now. The warmer weather is there, and the confines, and our drug-related files are decreased since last year, but since Country Fest, I've noticed that we've had a fluctuation of drugs within the community, and ourselves have attributed that. You can tell we're getting people in there that are certainly in a bad state of mind. And it's unfortunate, but hopefully that passes soon. Our CREST reduction team, or crime reduction team, is actively involved, and they certainly assist our detachment, and compliments to you because you support one of that section. So I'm open the floor to whatever I can answer for you, and hopefully I have the right answer.
Okay, questions? Councillor Drew, you have your mic on, so
Yeah.
you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I just have a comment.
Okay.
I do believe Councillor Ehlers should go first.
Okay, just go ahead then, Councillor Ehlers.
Okay, on saying that you say the property related incidences have increased, in what regards? I'm just going in the neighborhood I live in, there's been car break-ins and bikes stolen. So can you say, is that more general? Is there other crimes that we're not aware of that property
certainly,
related?
yes. I mean, we're having youth wander through the town, and in this day and age, it doesn't matter whether it's 4 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon now. I was out the other day last week helping the members catch a couple thieves, and you I think are privy to some of that information because that involves some of your city employees. So yeah, it just seems that there's more movement now, and it doesn't seem, you know, we're going through a phase with our justice system too, and restorative justice, and trying to work that out. But it just seems that the recourse and the punitive punishment for getting caught now, they don't seem to acknowledge that is a problem. So they're out on the streets and causing us havoc. Property crimes, yeah, that relates to anything from, as you say, a stolen bike to stealing something out of a garden to, you know, damaging a house, throwing a rock at a window. It's a big array of an area. Person crimes, then that's more like an assaultive issue, something to do directly with a person. Mischief is a property related crime because, you know, you're enjoying your property and somebody's bothering you in that instance. So hopefully that answered some of your questions.
And you still wish I know some haven't reported because they figure it's minor. And I'm talking about bike, and I'm talking about some statues being removed and whatever. I told them that it's best if they report them because we'll see if there's in a certain section of town, and I think there should be more awareness. The other thing that I've been encouraging people is to notify their neighbors if they're going to be away for an extended period of time, just so that the neighbors can be more vigilant about what's happening in the neighborhood. But I don't know if you have any other advice to
Yeah, no, for sure. Any report, it should always be reported to us because we're statistics driven, and that's how, you know, our membership gets filled, and how, you know, how we can accommodate the members, and we can adjust our schedule to the trends in enforcement and related crimes. I will also add that I received an email while I was on holidays, and I will be in consultation soon with a local business organization that wants to see if they get citizens up on patrol back up and running. So that's been out of the works for a few years now, so which that promotes community safety as well.
Thank you.
Councillor Juba.
I just want to commend you for, I know in our protective services meeting, I've asked some of the tough issues, and I just want to commend you on your leadership of the force in town. Without you and the RCMP, our community wouldn't be a safe place to live. And I know, and I do respect the answers that you gave me in the committee meeting. So I appreciate your candor, and I appreciate all the hard work that you and the RCMP do to keep us safe.
Well, thank you, sir, and as you as well. You're a councillor, and you serve the public just like myself. So you have an important job and role as well.
Councillor Bellemare.
Yes. The shortage of employees seems to be around everywhere. We hear lots of jobs are looking for people to work for the RCMP. I mean, that's been something we've talked about for a while. What are some specific strategies that the RCMP are using to try and get more people to join your organization?
Well, they're actively recruiting, and so is everyone else. So it's a job market right now for anybody. What I do think and believe that I think they're going to people in the past that may have not, 100% checked all the boxes to the RCMP, and they're revisiting in that and trying to readjust and realign to get people to sign up and become a member of the organization. I mean, certainly, as you know, through budgetary manners, that the RCMP has seen an increase here. So I believe that's trying to help attract a new membership to join the organization.
So recruiting out of high school probably isn't your intended audience. You're probably looking at someone that's got a university degree or college or some life experience kind of thing and is into their 20s. Like, what's sort of your market for recruitment? Yeah,
I believe in the past, and when I even joined in, this cadet that's coming, she is not, well, she's not old, but she's not certainly fresh out of high school. They like life experience because it makes a well-rounded member that, you've been out in the world and you've seen, your eyes have been opened. It's pretty hard but they now a university degree, as long as you have a grade 12 education, we're most happy to accept. And, it's like any other job, you learn as you go. But certainly the life experience helps you, because once you become a full-fledged member, you're the mental health worker, the crisis worker, the criminologist, and so you wear a number of hats that you have to certainly live up to. So it certainly is. And we're not a mobile force like we used to, which I think that also attracts. Like years and years ago, it was a few years you were at one post and you're moving on to the next. And that's hard on a family or anybody that wants to uproot. We have members here now that have been here long term, and it is. I mean, that's the attraction of a municipal police force. You can go to the city of Brandon, you can buy a house, you can pay that mortgage off, your kids can go to the same school their entire time. Your spouse, if she's not involved in the organization, can have a job and make a career out of it and not have to move. Where we're a mobile force, and certainly when you come to this division, they expect a north-south rotation. So they want you to get your feet wet in the north to see what it's like, and before the south comes and be parts of the rest of your career.
Okay, and one more question. Bike theft. Are you getting lots of reports of bike theft?
No, bike theft is down. And in regards to that project that they were looking at, I talked to Staff Sergeant Paddock, who was at the start of that when it happened. And apparently the cost involved to belong to that criteria where you're on a web-based, and that is quite expensive. So I don't know whether we'll have to look at another alternative, but right now bike thefts aren't on our radar by no means.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thanks very much for the report. I know Charlotte just got the one, but I'm sure she'll forward it on exactly, yeah, later on. So I'll take a look. But again, thank you very much. Just quickly reiterate what Councillor Juba said. Thank you for all that you do in our community, and welcome back from vacation.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I say this to all our guests, you're free to stay here and enjoy the rest of council. That's a no, I assume.
I have a granddaughter I brought back.
Oh, okay, there you go. Well, I'll go enjoy some time with her. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. Just one proclamation today, and that is for Canada's National Ukrainian Festival. Whereas Canada's National Ukrainian Festival will be celebrating its 57th anniversary on the 29th, 30th, and 31st of July of this year. And whereas Canada's National Ukrainian Festival has, with assistance of many volunteers, attracted tourists from all over the world to visit the city of Dauphin. And whereas this year marks 131 years since Canada's first Ukrainian settlers crossed the Atlantic to begin a new life on the Prairie Homestead. And whereas 131 years of Ukrainian-Canadian involvement in the cultural, economic, political, social, and spiritual life of our city, province, and country is being celebrated. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim July 24th to the 30th of this year, 2022, as Canada's National Ukrainian Festival Week. Looking forward to that festival in a few weeks' time. Moving on with consent agenda items, under A, number 2, outstanding water account added to taxes. Be it resolved that the following water account be added to taxes. That is for 306 Railway Avenue. The current tenant did not pay utility bills / cannot disconnect as it is a duplex property. That's for $138.72, and that is as recommended by the Director of Finance and the utility clerk. Under B, number 1, Association of Manitoba Municipalities, the letter of thanks for co-hosting the 2022 AMM Parkland District meeting and the Parkland Directors update for June of 2022. Number 2, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM Connect for June 28th and July 5th. Number 3, Government of Manitoba news release 2022 Summer Conditions Report. Number 4, Canada, Manitoba news releases, $37 million to support wage equity in early learning and childcare, and $8.1 million to fund childcare spaces across the province. Number 5, Municipal Relations Handbook for Municipal Officials, Annexations. Number 6, Prairie Mountain Health Public Services announcement for June 30th. Number 7, a letter from the residents. Thank you to the shop crew for excellent service, and that as all recommended by the mayor and the city manager. Before we move on, any questions or comments there for the items under consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following corporate report for the July 11th, 2022 regular council meeting, that of the city manager. And take it away, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a couple of weeks since our last meeting, and you can see by my lack of participation in meetings that a lot of people are in summer holiday mode. And so we always take this opportunity to clean up some of the projects that we had on our desk or have on our desk, and also maybe take some time off with family. So a few updates for the report today. One is further information about the potential council candidate information session. So this is something new for the city of Dauphin, but as I spoke about last time, we've been doing a lot of projects with the RM of Dauphin, and one of the things that they did, I believe it was 2014 and 2018, was to host an evening for information for potential candidates. We thought that would be a great opportunity for city candidates as well. So that will be this Thursday, July 14th, at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. The purpose is to share with potential candidates information like council and committee meeting schedules, time requirements, compensation, legislation, roles of the mayor, council, and staff. To help with the presentation, Joe Massey, and he's will be helping us out. He's a former executive director of the AMM, and he will be sharing some insights that he's learned over the past 20 plus years regarding characteristics of effective, highly functioning councils, as well as effective, highly functioning staff and administrations. To help us prepare, to make sure that we have enough room in City Hall, we do appreciate people to RSVP. They can call City Hall at 204-622-3200. And it is open to everyone who is running or interested in running for both council and mayor positions. Another thing that I did spend quite a bit of time on in the last couple of weeks was a little bit more preparation and learning about the community safety and well-being plan that we will be embarking on through the province, through funding from the province. So I attended on June 29th a webinar, and it was hosted by a company called Help Seeker Technologies. And I actually had to look up who they were. They're a social technology company that provides data-driven solutions to support social sector decision makers, service providers, and community members. That's what it said on their website. And so through conversation, I learned that they are an organization that collects data and shares it with organizations to help them make decisions. And that kind of the data that they collect has to do with social issues. So either supports that are available or statistics about some of the issues in communities. And through work that they've done in the past couple of years, they actually do have something. It's a Canada-wide repository of information, and they do have information about Dauphin. So I attended that seminar, and they presented it, about a third of it, and it was some really good general information about data required to make decisions about how to help different issues like addictions and homelessness and poverty and human trafficking and things like that. Next on the agenda for that webinar was the Mayor of Calgary, Alberta, Yodi Gondek. And then after her was the Mayor of Barrie, Ontario, Jeff Lehman. And they both spoke about the social issues that they see in their cities and how they're working toward assisting the province, like their respective provincial governments, to address some of those social issues. Both of them, when they got in, when they won their mayorship a year and plus ago, they said, there's all these things that are happening in our community. What can we do to help? And a lot of the things that they encountered were things that municipalities would not traditionally assist with or take over and do. So they did want to address some of those things and are working out ways to do so with helps of their provincial government, not against the provincial government, but with the provincial government. And they talked about the balance of doing something to help while not duplicating services already provided, and how to creatively pay for that help without double taxing their residents for services that they're already being taxed at the provincial or the federal level. So I thought that was really great. I did ask a question, and Help Seeker Technologies, a gal by the name of Jessie, she did contact me and said, hey, can we talk a little further? Because she was very interested in a community of about 8,500 people wanting to be progressive and do a community safety and well-being plan when it was not mandated. So I had a follow-up call with her, and we talked a little bit more about Dauphin and maybe some of the things that we're looking at. She was very interested in learning about the 12 communities that were going to have funded programs, and I got her in touch with the provincial contact. so that maybe some of the data that we would need, or some of the information that the province or the consultant would want to collect, that may already be available. And so I hope that streamlines some of the program that we're going to be working on. And then, of course, while I had the provincial contact on the phone, I asked, when will this community safety and well-being program project start? Because it was announced back in April. And she indicated, she was from Manitoba Justice, she indicated that they're working through the procurement process to secure a consultant who will lead the communities through the process, and then the work will begin with municipalities in the fall of 2022. But between now and then, they're hoping to get out an update to municipalities, participating municipalities, just to talk about the process. So that was some interesting news, some good news, and just learning more about that process is very interesting. And last thing I wanted to highlight, and I think we've done a little bit on social media today, today's Dauphin's birthday. And Dauphin is 124 years old today. So back on July 11th, 1898, there was a proclamation signed by the Lieutenant Governor in Council creating the village of Dauphin. And Dauphin, the first council meeting, I'm sorry, so today is the 124th birthday or anniversary, whatever you want to call. The first meeting of council was on August 23rd, 1898, and the first mayor was George Barker. Their first order of business was to hire a secretary-treasurer, which has evolved into a city manager position, and that was William Murray. And he was hired through bylaw number 1, which was passed on September 1st, 1898. And it was very interesting. Salary for that position was $10 per month. Also at that meeting, they needed to appoint a solicitor, city solicitor or lawyer, and that was James Graham Harvey. And he was hired for a fee of $25 for the remainder of the year. So that's $6.25 a month, plus any extra court duties he would get compensated for. And I end with the province requires municipalities to keep original copies of minutes of council meetings. So we do have in our vault council meetings and bylaws dating back to 1898. And I did take a couple snapshots for council of the first minutes of the first meeting, which was on August 23rd. And I love how it says August 23rd/98, not 1998, but 1898, handwritten. And I think some of us may have seen copies of bylaw number 1. So little history for you there. That concludes my report.
On loose leaf paper. Any questions or comments regarding the city manager's report? Councillor Bellemare.
Yeah. Guess I need to leave that on. So the province has given us some money for the community safety and well-being plan, and then that consultant is going to be hired. And we've been talking about what process we might end up using. So is the consultant that they're hiring going to be instrumental in each of the 12 plans, or we do our own thing and they are kind of a resource? Like, how does that work with the consultant and the donation? What?
Yeah, so my understanding right now from when I spoke to a representative with Justice is that the province will be leading us through the program or leading us through this process. They're hiring a consultant, and the consultant will work through it. It looks like they're working on a bit of an economy of scale, and there may be one consultant for all the communities, or maybe a group of consultants for the communities. I know right when it was announced, I think there might have been an interpretation in the media that we were going to be given $112,000 or $103,000 to do this, and that was just the total amount divided by the 12 communities. That was not my understanding. It does not appear that there would be money flowed through to the municipality to pay for anything. More so, that money would be dedicated to a consultant that the province hires to work with us. A, to create the program, and then B, to help us implement some of the recommendations. That being said, I don't have any of that necessarily in writing. It was just what I gathered from my conversations, and I hope that in the coming month or so, we'll, before the fall anyways, we would get an update on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding the city manager's report? Councillor Eilers.
In regards to that, our consultant, I would imagine that there would be a period of data gathering for that, and that'll take a lot of time. And I think afterwards, it probably a decision made because I looked at all the different communities, and there were, of course, larger communities and smaller communities, which would again mean that there would probably be different measures because of the size of the community and actually services that are available in each of the communities. And that, if you take a look at, they've got addiction centers in a lot of the larger communities, which are well established. We've kind of have a satellite that is here. So again, that would be something that they would probably have to look at. But I'm glad to see that we've got some action on it because it's been a long time from hearing about what's happening.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we do have like personalization for our plan, and it's not one plan for the 12 communities, but each community would have information gathering, a public consultation, that kind of thing. That's what I'd be looking for.
Anything else? Okay, seeing no more questions or comments, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for tonight's meeting from the Deputy City Manager. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Councillor Bellemare.
Yeah, could we get some clarification on that yard sale sign change that's proposed in there?
Yes, certainly. Actually, I'm glad you asked because I think it's great to get this messaging out to the public, and we've put it on our social media. So due to safety concerns and in accordance with our zoning bylaw, signs advertising events and yard sales are not permitted on public property and boulevards. And they we've allowed them up to this point, and we've been kind of giving a grace period on that because we've installed a community bulletin board at the residential recycling depot on First Avenue Southeast across from Credit Union Place. And we're hoping to get the word out so that people will post their events and yard sales, estate sales, and that kind of thing on the bulletin board, and people can swing through there. There's a good space to come off the roadway to view those events. And so the bylaw enforcement officer will, once word catches on and we start to see that people are using this bulletin board, he will be removing the signs from the boulevards. There's a prime location near Walmart, near the mall, where people are posting at the corner, and it's become a safety hazard because people are stopping to take pictures, and it's really not safe. So that's why we decided to do kind of a pilot project with our community bulletin board.
Are we doing anything aside from social media? Because I find I just can't keep up with stuff being posted. Like, are we going to advertise in the Dauphin Herald and on CKDM?
I ran that notion past our director of finance, and he said, let's try to post it on social media first and see where we get. And then if word doesn't catch on as well, then we will certainly publish it.
Any other questions or comments? Call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts information the following corporate report for this evening's regular council meeting of the ICT manager. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that the finance accounts have been examined by council and be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals going from 29927 to 29963. That's 37, totaling $462,801.67. No voided checks in the current range. There was a voided check in past range, though. June 9th, 2022, check number 29847, right side equipment. It was for $8,063.64. The check was damaged by the financial institution. There were no electronics in that time frame, electronic payments, I should say, in that time frame. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before PSAB adjustments for the period ending April 30th, 2022, including number 1, the general fund balance sheet and general fund income statement, and number 2, utility fund balance sheet and utility fund income statement. Any questions or comments there? Call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the reserve report for April of this year. Any comments there? Seeing none, call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following protective services report for tonight's meeting, that of the bylaw enforcement for June of 2022. Any questions or comments regarding that report?
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yep.
could just
Yep.
make a note. I realize that the bylaw enforcement report has some rather large numbers indicated here for complaints and inquiries. It's a very busy time right now for the bylaw enforcement officer. He's doing a tremendous job. It's not an easy job doing bylaw enforcement, and he has been out and about, issued nearly 300 notices since the beginning of June. And we do want to start categorizing the inquiries and complaints to kind of break those numbers down to give you an idea of the kinds of issues that he's dealing with. He did note under inquiries, under the heading there, property standards, parking, permits, and licensing, just to give you a general idea of what kinds of issues he's dealing with. But certainly once the season wraps up and things start to slow down in October and November, we're going to be trying to work on a system where he can track the nature of the complaint. He's kind of pulled in all directions on a daily basis, and it's difficult to track and record what those calls are about in all cases. So we're going to try to put a system in place for that to help categorize those complaints and inquiries a little bit better for you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Anything else? Go ahead. Deputy Mayor Shtakilo, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Just further to that, just want to also comment on the bylaw enforcement officer. He's very visual within the community. I always see him out and about, and I can attest to the fact that I'm sure he's pulled in many directions. I have contacted him for a few inquiries along the way, and I certainly do appreciate his service. So that's all I had. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. I will pass that along to him, Deputy Mayor Shtakalo.
Either Councillor Eilers.
And I've just passed on his name and phone number on a number of inquiries because I feel that that's probably best. He probably has more questions to ask than I can ascertain by a phone call or a message left on my phone. So kudos to him. I'm sure he's trying to deal with some of the yards. I've had a number of complaints about some yards that have been really left unattended and really take away from neighbors who do an exceptional job in keeping their yards nice and tidy. Sometimes it's just a matter of cutting grass that's a foot high. So anyway, it's a habitual problem, I guess.
Councillor Juba.
Not only is he busy doing bylaw enforcement, but he's also filling in as the building inspector. He's been down to the Habitat a couple of times in the last week or so, and he's given us the green light to pour concrete into our into our insulated forms. So tomorrow, or anyways, I just want to say that Conrad is busy, and he's also captain of the fire department, so he's a busy guy. So thanks.
All right, thank you. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following protective services report for tonight's regular council meeting. That of the animal control officer for the month of June. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Councillor Eilers.
Well, it's, we still are having problems with the number of rabbits we have in our community. And actually, probably this leads to why I see that we have increase in foxes again. That's their, that's what they like to feed on. So I guess we take care of the foxes, but then we still have the problem with the rabbits and et cetera. So anyway, there was 3 foxes removed. They probably would have taken care of about half a dozen rabbits. So anyway, it's problematic one way or the other.
For sure. Any other questions or comments there? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the minutes from the following committee. That of the Intermountain Watershed District, their regular board meeting from June 20th. Any questions, comments regarding those minutes? Call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Whereas on May 26th of this year, the City of Dauphin was awarded $25,000 through the Heritage Resources Conservation Grant Program to assist with the window upgrades, the project at the Watson Arts Center. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated June 27th this year from Jeff Golly, Senior Heritage Conservation Officer with the Manitoba Sport, Culture and Heritage, along with a Heritage Resources Conservation Grant Program project certification form, and a memorandum dated July 11th, 2022 from the Information and Communications Technology Manager recommending that the project certification form be approved for signing. So further be it resolved that council agrees with the ICT manager's recommendation and authorizes that the Heritage Resources Conservation Program project certification form will be signed and sealed by the city manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare, whereas Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure requires a council resolution from a municipality requesting a traffic study or when requesting permission to perform unwarranted upgrades on MTI-owned roadways. And whereas unwarranted upgrades to MTI owned roadways are upgraded that follow provincial guidelines and are the correct solution to an issue, but do not meet MTI's criteria for implementing them at this time. Be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated July 7th, 2022 from the Director of Public Works and Operations recommending a MTI traffic study at the intersection of Main Street South and 4th Avenue Southwest to determine the warrants for traffic control like signals and permission for the city to install pedestrian crossing signage with solar panel powered rectangular rapid flashing beacons across Buchanan Avenue at Jackson Street. Further be it resolved that council agrees with the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and Operations and approves a request to Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure as noted above. Any questions or comments there? Councillor Juba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the Director of Public Works for making that recommendation. A few years ago, when the traffic study was done for the traffic lights over here, that intersection on 4th and Main was also under consideration. So kudos for pushing the recommendation to have the safety lights at that intersection. Thank you for your excellent work.
Thank you. Anything else? We'll call the questions in. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas Culture Days will celebrate arts and culture in our community from September 23rd to October 16th of this year. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated June 29th, 2022 from Allison Moss, Director of the Dauphin Public Library, on behalf of the Culture Days Committee, requesting a public art installation in the form of a painting on the crosswalk on 5th Avenue Northeast at Main Street North between the Dauphin Public Library and TD Bank. And further be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memorandum dated July 5th of this year from the Director of Public Works and Operations, noting that the Provincial Traffic Control Devices Regulation 13/2019, which is part of the Highway Traffic Act, specifies that traffic control devices approved for use in Manitoba must follow the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Canada, so that all signage and roadway markings remain consistent throughout Canada, and recommending that the Culture Days Committee consider applying artwork to a sidewalk or driveway, which are not directly governed by this regulation. So further be it resolved that Council agrees with the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and Operations and would support the application of painted art on a sidewalk or driveway, the location to be determined in consultation with the Culture Days Committee. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas to the City of Dauphin travel and expense policy, all out of province travel must receive prior approval by Council. And be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memorandum dated June 27th, 2022 from the Economic Development Manager requesting permission for the EDM and the Marketing Coordinator to attend the Economic Developers of Canada Conference happening October 1st to the 4th this year in Kingston, Ontario. And further be it resolved that Council approves this out-of-province travel request and authorizes all costs to be borne by the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments regarding that? Councillor Juba.
Just a comment. It's really great to see that our economic development team is going to be having an opportunity to see in person at convention what's happening in the rest of the country. COVID really slowed everyone down, as we all know, and this is just sort of a reemergence of a great opportunity, and I see good positive things come, and nothing but good positive outcomes from their trip to Kingston for this.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Whereas the City of Dauphin owns the land where the Fort Dauphin Museum is located and has leased the land to the fort since 1974, and whereas Bylaw 02/2006, which formed the most recent lease agreement with Fort Dauphin Museum Incorporated, expired back in 2011. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information a 10-year lease agreement between the City of Dauphin and Fort Dauphin Museum Incorporated for the period August 1st, 2022 to July 31st, 2032, and a memorandum dated July 7th, 2022 from the Deputy City Manager recommending that the agreement be approved. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and authorizes the land lease agreement with Fort Dauphin Museum Incorporated to be signed and sealed by the Mayor and the City Manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Any comments or questions on that one? Seeing none, I'll call questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Bylaw 07/2022, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to repeal Bylaw 02/2006, authorizing an agreement with Fort Dauphin Museum Incorporated, be now read a first time. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved the Council accepts as information the invitation and community events listed below. Invitations, Toot Nawazabing Annual Treaty Day Powwow happening on July 21st, and some community events. Tim Hortons Camp Day is going on Wednesday, July 13th. And Westman Communications Group is hosting their Dauphin Charity Barbecue on July 21st of this year, of course. Any questions or comments regarding those events? None, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. And we'll move to councillor privileges now. And today we'll start to my left. Councillor Eilers.
Thank you. On June the 27th, attended the Financial Committee meeting and also City Council meeting. On July the 29th, we had a composting workshop with Under One Roof. On June the 30th, there was a Dauphin Ag sponsorship luncheon. And July 1st to the 3rd, I volunteered at the Dauphin Ag Society Fair. The fair was well attended, everything from antique farm equipment, car shows, animal shows. It was really interesting, the extreme stunt show dogs, as well as the cow dog trials, and lots of horse events, as well as the 4-H beef, steer, and sheep class sale, and also home living. As usual, the Midway was a great attraction. But I'd really like to thank all the hardworking volunteers at the fair, but also at the Country Fest, such as making this a successful event. And I think it was mentioned in the Dauphin Herald that for a community our size to have two big events like this is wonderful. On July 4th and the 7th, I worked with volunteers on how to weed effectively and plant raised vegetable beds at the Sunshine Garden Community, at the Sunshine Community Gardens. And I just wanted to repeat that we'll be hosting the Communities in Bloom Judges on July the 28th. We encourage everyone to continue keeping their yards maintained. It's been a challenge, and I really appreciate all the hard work because of what we have as far as the weather. On that same day, we're going to have the street fair, which will be located across from the CN Park. And I encourage everybody to take extra precautions. We're actually going to get some hot weather, and to make sure that everybody's well hydrated, drink plenty of water, and find shaded areas, sun hats, and sunscreen. On that note, I end my report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Eilers. Councillor Juba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. For council activities, June the 27th, audit and finance meeting prior to the June 27th City Council meeting. July the 6th, I attended the Riverside Cemetery Board meeting. No other council business for the last 2 weeks. However, the community, on June the 28th, I attended the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal AGM under one roof. Just wanted to thank Amanda and Harley and the board of the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal for all their hard work and dedication. They've had a lot of transition and fluctuation, and they are taking on the challenge over at Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal. July the 1st, I attended the Dauphin Ag Society Fair, enjoyed the fireworks display late in the evening. I actually watched them from the comfort of my backyard. And July the 2nd, I joined fellow councillors for the annual parade. Great to see a large amount of people on the parade route, and I was able to climb on the float. That just, for me, that was a big deal because I've had some health issues, and I'm resilient and I don't quit. So I keep moving on and keep working. Excuse me, the next day, later on that day, I ventured out to the Country Fest site, and I volunteered for 8 hours or so, and it was great to see Country Fest on the go again. The board of directors deserve kudos for hosting this event and revitalizing the event. July the 3rd, I volunteered at the Dauphin Ag Fair. As mentioned before, it was a great crowd. And our job was to sell 50-50 tickets, and within a 5-hour duration, we sold $4,300 worth of 50-50 tickets. So I think we were fairly successful in our part. Great generosity, great to see lots of people out, and even Deputy Mayor Stakilo was in on the 50-50 draw. Anyways, I just can't. Yeah, okay. This past weekend, there have been a lot of community in our parkland area having celebrations. It's great to see that the Gilbert Plains Rodeo and the Mossy River days are back up and running. I had the chance to take a quick drive to Gilbert on Friday to watch the parade, and lots of people from Dauphin also ventured out. So people are venturing out. They're staying within the parkland and supporting events within the parkland. So that's great to see. Just want to give a little plug to the Hero Club for their Tuesday and Thursday hot dog stands throughout the summer. Just go down there, support them, and they'll feed you a good meal. And it's good to get out and enjoy a hot dog with the Hero Club. Tim Hortons are having the camp day this Wednesday, so come out and support camp opportunities for the youngsters. I'll be out there pouring coffee for a bit anyways. I have a bit of a Habitat for Humanity update. The work is progressing a lot. Extreme heat and frequent rains have slowed the progress. The ICF Foundation rebar has passed the inspection, and on tomorrow the forms will be cast. The pumper truck and cement truck will be on scene at 1 o'clock. We are in the process of developing 2 types of a database for volunteers. We are looking for volunteers that can be called upon at various stages of the build, and we're also looking for organizations of businesses in the community to sign up for sponsor days. This is a great opportunity for businesses, organizations, and people to support the project and show off their skills as volunteers. Our first sponsor day is July the 20th, the Mazer Group being the first group. So if you want to be part of the Habitat for Humanity volunteer team, just send Nancy an email at general@dauphin.habitat.mb.ca, and we'll get you signed up. The Parkland Family Fund report, just a couple of things. I attended a Zoom meeting with the members of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress from across the province, and I can say from what I've heard from the struggles that the other communities are having settling their Ukrainian families, I just want to give a shout out to Don Tarrant, Father Brent Kuzik, Jim Perchlik, Lindsay Rubin, and about 45 volunteers who have worked tirelessly to accommodate and to have our families settled in our community. Dauphin has done a great job, and we are really the model for settling the families in our community. And just wanted to say, Don Tarrant sent me a text at 4 o'clock. He just wanted to advise, or ask me to advise council in the community that our 12th family has arrived safely, and they are father, mother. They have 3 children. One is 14 months, 7 years old, and 10-year-olds. So our community is growing exponentially and just want to say happy birthday, Dauphin. To end my report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Juba. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. On July the 6th, I attended a Riverside Cemetery Board meeting, and discussions are underway there regarding installing a columbarium on the site. A columbarium is a long-lasting stone structure designed to securely hold a person's cremated remains into the future. And if you want to see what they look like, you can go online. There's a Canadian company called Nelson that has great pictures on their website, or you can check with the funeral home in town for more information about these. Community events, I volunteered at Country Fest. It was wonderful to see people back on the hill. People were happy and polite and enjoying themselves. And there were many visitors from other communities, which certainly helps our local economy. I attended several events at the Ag Society Fair. A big thank you to everyone involved in planning and volunteering. The rides were exciting. Extreme dogs were full of amazing tricks, and the demolition derby was really exciting. I don't know who the announcer was, but he certainly added to the fun. And the parade route was filled with spectators, so it was a great way to kick off the summer. On July 5th, we had another toboggan meeting, and our latest donation is some granular fill that's coming from Stilkowski. So the local support for this whole project has been heartwarming. So a big thank you. Some kudos. My husband and I, Regent and I, recently celebrated our 40th anniversary, and instead of giving us gifts, we asked our friends that if they really felt they wanted to do something, they could make a donation to the Dauphin and District Community Foundation, because we have a Belmare Family Scholarship, and any donations to that fund increases the amount of the scholarship. And a scholarship is given each year to a DR student graduating, and this scholarship will be in place every year forever. So if you have extra cash and you want to donate it someplace to a safe, into a place that's safe and meaningful, and your donations will be used wisely, and there's very little overhead costs, check out our local community foundation. The office is here at City Hall, and Kit will let you know what all the possibilities are. And big kudos to the Dauphin Rec Services staff for all their work getting the fairgrounds ready for the fair and then cleaning up afterwards. In a year of such high rainfall, such as this year, it was particularly challenging. So thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Deputy Mayor Stikilo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. For myself, June 27th, regular council meeting. And then the next day on June 28th, I was in attendance for the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal AGM. Councillor Juba has mentioned it there. It was nice to see him in attendance at that, given just the short notice of the invitation. So again, just echoing what Councillor Juba said, Amanda and Harvey are doing some Harley, sorry, are doing some great work there, along with all the board members, just going in a different direction for a DNRC as in past years, and it's great to see what will come over the next year or two as we move forward. One thing to note, we are happy that DNRC was awarded funding for another year from the province. So, you know, sometimes in the past that's been an issue, and just wondering how the organization is going to move forward. But we are making good progress for sure. For myself, unfortunately, I was unable to attend the parade as I was out of town for most of Canada Day, visiting another community in the province with some of my family. But I was able to make it back to attend Country Fest and the fair, and take in some of the activities here in the community. And just a big thank you to all the volunteers and members of the various organizations that helped out along the way. It's amazing to see the city come back to life with events after such a long pause, and you know, it was just great. It was a great feeling. It was fun to be in the community as it always is, and it was just nice to see smiles on people's faces, and you know, it was a safe and fun weekend. Yeah, that's about it for me for my report. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Stikilo. For myself, I wasn't at the last regular council meeting, so I'll rip through the privileges I had for that, and obviously some in between then and now. June 13th, regular council meeting here at City Hall. On the 14th, I attended the State of the District at the Watson Arts Center. I just want to say well done by the Mayor of St. Rose, Rob Brunel there. On the 15th, I attended the City Staff Appreciation Barbecue at the City Shop. On the 16th, I went to the Habitat for Humanity Barbecue at Fusion Credit Union. On the 20th, Strategic Planning and Priorities meeting here at City Hall. On the 22nd, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities June District meeting. That was at the Parkland Rec Complex. A great day there. Nice to be back in person for that event. On the 23rd, two events. I attended the sod turning at the Toboggan Hill, Mamawee Park in the afternoon, and then a Communities in Bloom meeting here at City Hall later on that evening. On June 27th, as I mentioned, I missed the regular council meeting and the Audit and Finance Committee meeting as well, but I did want to thank Deputy Mayor Stikilo for covering for me. I watched online, and it was a job well done. And finally, as every councillor has mentioned, July 1st and 2nd, for me at least, I attended Dauphin's Country Fest. took part in the Canada Day Parade, and went with my family to the Dauphin Fair as well. Glad to hear all the events went well, and really looking forward to next year too. Do want to say thank you to all the volunteers, board of directors, and attendees for making those events happen. And with that being said, one last thing, happy 124th birthday to the city of Dauphin, and moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the council meeting be recessed at 6:06. Thank you very much. Have a good night.